Welcome to a lesson with Dr. Powell. Let's talk about how we can get the angle between two vectors using complex number multiplication. Okay, so let's suppose we have a vector here. Suppose this one is 1, 3, and suppose you have another vector over here, and maybe it's like 4, 1 or something. Let's find this angle between. How would we do that? Well, for one thing, we have a right triangle here, right? There's multiple ways of doing this. We could find this length and then take the inverse tangent of their ratio. That works fine. You can also think you have this length right here from a Pythagorean theorem. 1 squared plus 3 squared, square rooted, that's the square root of 10. Now, all we need is just one of these lengths. This length is fairly easy to obtain. You can obtain this by doing as we discussed in the last video, a dot product, then dividing by the length of the ground. So you take a dot product, divide by length of ground. So let's do that. So dot product is simply 1 times 4 plus 3 times 1. So that's a dot product. And then you divide by the length of the ground, which is done by square rooting the sum of the squares. 16 plus 1 squared is 17. So it looks like this distance right here is 7 over square root of 17. So how do we find this angle right here? Call it theta. Well, you have the adjacent and the hypotenuse. Just take the inverse cosine. Just take the inverse cosine of 7 over square root of 17 divided by square root of 10, which is the same. So 7 over square root of 17, that's adjacent over hypotenuse. 17. That was a 17. And over there. Okay, hypotenuse, which is the same thing as 7 over 7 over the square root of 170. And the inverse cosine. Now, the nice thing about inverse cosine is that it outputs angles from 0 to pi, so that we can get, so it's kind of nice. You can at least get one of your angles on one of the sides just by using the cosine inverse. You can get the smaller angle of these two just pops out by just using this as is, which is a really nice feature of cosine inverse. So this is really kind of probably the best way to get the angle. You can use other methods, but this is a really nice way of getting an angle. Thanks for watching.